Welcome to the Global Wellness HQ family of podcasts. We are your international headquarters for resources and ideas and insight in relation to the 9 elements of holistic wellness. Join us as we interview local and international wellness experts and learn how you can implement and improve one element or dimension of wellness at a time. Our experts will share their practical tips on wellness in one of these core areas: emotional, intellectual, occupational, physical, environmental, financial, spiritual, social, or habitual. We created our family of podcasts as a resource for anyone who is looking to integrate the 9 elements of holistic wellness into their daily lives. Welcome to the show.
Everyone, welcome back to Global Wellness Headquarters, the podcast. Today's episode is going to be a fun one. We're counting down to our 100th episode, and I thought it would be fun. Our final 5 episodes in our first 100. I thought it would be fun to share some insights and ideas and really practical things and focus on why we do some things we do, and hopefully give you a little bit of encouragement to try to do some things yourself. So in this episode, I'm going to answer the question, why podcast? Now, originally I planned this as a top 10 list. I realized that that's not necessarily the best way to do it. So I'm going to do it just sharing some of my thoughts and ideas, and I'm going to share the why behind it. So number one, I host podcasts because I enjoy it. So that's my driving force. And the reality is you and only you can decide if it's fun for you or not. But I like a good podcast. Bar none, it's my favorite way to meet people. It's a great way to get to know people, and it's a great way to ask some questions. So, number one, fun. Number two, it is for me, podcasting is a highly social tool, and I would go so far as to say it's one of my favorite networking tools. And this is a little bit of an advanced strategy, but this is why I do what I do, and this is what keeps me going. I love meeting fascinating, interesting people, and I love connecting them with my network. Now, before I podcasted, I would have to send emails, I would have to take the time to connect people. Now I can just message people and say, hey, check this out. If you like this person, here's why I think you would get along. If you want to meet them, let me know. So podcasting is a really fun tool for networking. Now, number three, podcasting allows me to talk to people that I wouldn't ordinarily talk to. It opens doors, it opens conversations. And a lot of salespeople tell me, Jeff, the hardest thing about sales is starting that first conversation. What I love about a good podcast, and it's got to be one that serves and adds value, a good podcast opens doors. My guests are always saying, hey, Jeff, you got to meet this person, or hey, Jeff, I think this person would be a great guest on the show. So a podcast is, for me, from a business point of view, a really good conversation starter. And what it does is it allows me to very quickly see, is this somebody that needs my services? And I would send them, a proposal or invite them to join me. Or is this a strategic partner who I think my clients would benefit from knowing? I can make some introductions to my clients. And if they've got clients that would benefit, then we all benefit. So that's another reason for podcasting. The biggest part for me is it's about relationships. So it allows me to add value to the people I interview. It allows me to add value to my network, and it helps me build community. Now, a lot of people don't necessarily value those things, but if you do, I'm going to share why I do and how I do it. So the reality is, if you have a good community of raving fans, clients that love you, peers that support you, strategic partners that want to elevate you, you can actually add value to that group just by introducing them to other people that you know, like, and trust, people that you respect. So podcasting is a way of giving back as well as a way of receiving. And reading and rereading The Go-Giver by Bob Burg and John David Mann, I like to add enormous value to the people I serve. And the best thing I can do there is through my podcast. I can interview experts that they might never meet, people they might never get to know. And that's how I get to have a little fun with the podcast. Now, a couple of other reasons people say, oh, podcasting's so last year, or everybody's got a podcast. I truly believe that above all of the other reasons, podcasting is my number one way to learn. And I love that because I just show up with curiosity. I get to meet new people. I get to learn new things. I truly am what I would consider a Renaissance man because I know a little bit about everything. And then the subjects I really like, I go deep, deep, deep in. So, what I like about a podcast is you can get that broad general knowledge very quickly, but you can also dive really deep on something very quickly. So podcasting is fun, but it's also a way to learn and it's a way to build community. So I hope that was useful. Hope it wasn't too ranty. But the reality is, I firmly believe that if you're looking to do something new in life, you either can be a podcast as a novice interviewing experts, or you can be a podcaster as somebody in the middle who is interviewing people above and below, or you can be the expert and you can interview people as they're growing up to that level. So podcasting can be fun, it could be educational, and last and not least, it's profitable. So I'm a big fan of impact. And again, based on the Go Giver, the more people I help, the more I will earn. So one of the things I like about a podcast is I don't know who needed to hear something or who needed to have a question answered. And that's the beautiful thing about the podcast. I ask the questions that matter to me. I share that with my community, and somebody will raise their hand and say, oh my God, thank you. I needed to hear that. How do we work together? So that's the beautiful thing. People do business with people first. Um, and in that group of people, they will, all things being equal, do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And that I've taken that from Bob Berg and John David Mann. Our goal is that things not be equal. We want to stack the odds. And that's the thing. If we can add enormous value to our community by solving problems, by making introductions, by giving answers, we benefit in return. So those are my top reasons. I hope that was useful for you, and I look forward to seeing you and your comments and questions below. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our show. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we invite you to either click the link below or scan the QR code to register and listen to other episodes of our podcast. Or if you think your business or you would be a great guest to be on our show, we're always looking for experts in one of the 9 elements of holistic wellness. We'd love to have you. You can either click the link below or you can scan the QR code and complete our speaker intake form. Thank you, and to your wellness.